Hello, I am Shyam. Today I'll be talking about the dying Shitalakshya River and Bangladesh garments industry. The topic here is about the role of engineers when he has the knowledge and reason to believe that the activities of a person or farm will cause harm to public health and safety and endanger environment. I am an environment and public health engineer employed by the Department of Environment Dhaka. I work with preserving natural resources, maintaining public health and economy. My team consists of 6 members. There are 3 engineers and 2 technicians who are under my supervision. This January, we are assigned to test the water quality of the Shitalakshya River, known as the lifeline of Narayanganj. I'll be talking about the problem, the root cause of the problem, the stakeholders in this case, the possible actions for each stakeholders and their consequences, a solution that is sustainable, and finally the conclusion. On my first field visit, what I saw was pure hazard. One could tell by the looks of it that the water was completely polluted. There were polythene bags, plastic bottles, and various kinds of garments waste floating everywhere. The statistics of psychochemical parameter of waters, toxic metal concentration of the water, and metal concentration of the water all suggest that the water exhibits ECDO and COD above the DOE suggested value. This means that the water is consequently not safe for drinking, household, irrigation, or industrial purpose. Let me introduce you to the dark side of our garments industry. At every step of our visit, we saw alarming factors. Around 70% factories were built beside the riverbed. Others used pipes to move their drainage to the river. More than 80% industries had no effluent treatment plant. They are directly or indirectly dumping their waste into the river. Most of the factories were not built like factory infrastructures. The buildings were not safe. They are like typical resident infrastructure that poses a great risk for the workers. We can see the incidents back in 2012 and 2013, the Tajrin factory fire and the Rana Plaza incident. These were caused because of these unsafe buildings. The buildings were so close to each other that there was no scope for fire service or any other services to reach there. Besides, there were no emergency exits as well. The environment was quite unhealthy for a person to work in. Dangerous practices such as the unprotected use of chemical substances or sandblasting was very common in the industry. The workers were not just threatened by unsafe buildings. The workers behind the sewing machines were exposed to health hazards such as noise, high temperature, and repetitive motion on a daily basis. Though the Tajrin factory fire incident and the Rana Plaza incident have impacted to a mere change in these factory infrastructures, but things have not changed that much. Our textile industry produces around 500,000 tons of waste material annually. This can be as much as 47% of the total raw material input of the garment production. That means around 50% of our inputs are going to waste. There are several stakeholders in this case. Let's talk about the local people and fishermen. This river Shitalakshya has been the route of transportation not so long ago. Constant pollution has brought an end to the people using this river. The water can be safely used for drinking, household irrigation, or industrial purpose. The fishermen are suffering quite a lot for this. It has affected the ecosystem so much that days of abundant fish are gone. Most fishes cannot survive and breed in such toxic conditions due to the toxic water index. The local people are influenced by both chemical and organic pollutants because of textile dyeing industries. This causes quite a lot of health ailments and serious diseases. While talking with some fishermen, Kartik Das, a fisherman in Shitalakshya for 45 years, said, "My father and his father before him were all fishermen. But I can no longer sustain my family with fishing, as fish has become a scarce commodity. Once the river had such clean water, we used to bath in it. We also used the water for drinking and cooking. Now we cannot even go near it, added Kartik, shedding tears of nostalgia. Our second stakeholders are the workers. As weird as it sounds, fainting is a quite common incident in these factories, as the workers make long hours without proper ventilation or air conditioning. They are also subjected to verbal and psychological harassment and violence. Especially, the majority of women in the industry face gender-based violence, sexual harassment, and improper maternity leave. While the government guarantees maternity leave for at least 100 days for the first two children in working women, around 50% of all women we interviewed said that they never enjoyed such a proper break. Sandblasting is a method to make jeans look old or pre-worn using pressurized air and sand. It is extremely dangerous for workers as it causes fatal silicosis and other respiratory diseases. Factory owners have taken strides to limit and prevent labor unions from forming. Though these unions are legal and at every workplaces we can see unions. Our third stakeholder is our environment, which is the Shitalakshya river here. It was considered the lifeline of Narayanganj city, as the city stands on the bank of this river. Until the road conditions were fully developed around 15 years ago, trade and communication heavily dependent on waterways. Now, country is one of the most important rivers has almost lost her navigability, especially in winter with the fall of water levels. Most of the garments industry are situated here and proper waste management system are not followed by the factories. The environmental conditions of this area are worsening every day. Narayanganj Poroshobha Authority is the only responsible organization for waste management in this area. Every day, 120 to 125 tons of waste are generated in this area and dumped in this river. Our last stakeholders are the companies. The garment industry of Bangladesh has been the key export division and the main source of foreign exchange for the last 25 years. At present, our country generates about 5 billion worth of products each year by exporting garments. The tendency of low production rates is the key reason for the transfer of garment manufacturing in Bangladesh, because the production rates due to the labor rates is quite high in the other countries like Korea, Japan or America. A shirt made in Bangladesh is sold 5 to 10 times of its imported price in developed nations. That's the reason our garments industry is flourishing. These low rates come at a price, and the big price is the pollution, low labor wages, unusable working conditions, and unusable factories, unsafe buildings, and their consequences. Well, we can reallocate or refactor the factory establishments. It can be considered a straightforward solution to move these factories to barren lands or areas far from public and natural resources. This way we can save the river. But there's a catch. These garments workers live on these facilities, and garments industry being the key export division of our country, this industry is so big that it cannot be changed in a mere day. Another approach could be to put a ban on waste disposal in the river. Well, we can put a ban on disposal, though there lies the question where the law will be respected and ordained perfectly. Besides, there's another catch about solid waste. If the waste is not dumped into the water, the waste will be either dumped in land or burned. As a result, land pollution will occur while dumping in land, or air pollution while burning them. Another approach could be ensuring healthy workplaces. But about the working conditions, there's not that much I can do. Morally, it is not right to me, but as an engineer, I have to perform services only in areas of my competence, according to the NSP codes code 2. What I can do is I can highlight these problems to the concerned authorities so that they can take care of these things. So let me introduce you with the waste or jhuta. Waste or jhuta of the garment industry seems to be only garbage in eyes of many, but for those who are involved in this business are showing its vast potentiality inside and outside of the country. Every day, around 550 tons of garment waste is being exported abroad from the port of Chittagong. On the other hand, cotton, yarn, or even cloths are now being manufactured from this waste. Problems regarding the jhuta business. It is considered junk or other business related activities in Bangladesh are going on unbounded. Due to association with the dirt, the educators do not want to come to this profession. Director of the Cutting Cloth Merchandise Society in Mirpur, Selim said, "With this business we are working in cleaning garbage of the garment industry, but alas, we have to be harassed. The business is between legal and illegal conditions." Few investigation report claims that there are approximately 11,000 organized criminals who have become desperate across the country, including the capital. Only in Narayanganj there are 15 groups and each group has minimum 100 criminals. This is not a good sign for this business. On regard of the disposal issues, some other rules can be introduced. Like effluent treatment plant, ETP can be mandatory for all garment industry for decreasing the toxicity of the produced waste. Where the amount of waste is more, the number of bins should be increased and placed at proper place of the garment site. For quick transportation of waste, vehicles such as container carrier, compactor, unroller, van should be on proper operation. Effective training programs about health and hygiene as well as overall environment among the employees of the factory can be organized. Development of the industries can be the only solution to this waste problem. Garments waste are not just waste, they are valuable and recyclable. Without recycling, the waste will either pollute water or in contrast land. The view of jhuta as a low-line business needs to change, as well as the syndicate regarding jhuta business. Often news break out involving fights, local influential mobs, murders, etc. regarding this business. Many people are going to work in dirty shop for their livelihood, to recycle waste and trying to build a business which can bring foreign money. But if our government does not give backing to this business and does not take any action to these terrorists, this business will always remain out of the light. Also, ETP should be mandatory for all the factories. On regard of the worker laws, government has taken many actions after two major strategies in 2012 and 2013 that left more than 1,200 workers dead. Better labor regulations and safety conditions are implemented. The workers' death have played an important role. It is necessary for a company to pursue a competitive policy that improves quality, flexibility, innovation, and customer care. If they rely on low cost by dropping laborer wages and other services, they will be bereft of laborers' dedication to work.